Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm here with Mike tonight to film some videos. We've got probably more than one, probably two, maybe three.
If we get time.
Depending on whether he can cope with the late night. He's getting old now. So the first video, if you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail, you'll have a rough idea what we're talking about. It's called the Smite Phase for a reason, or we call it the Smite Phase for a reason. We're going to talk about Smite and Mortal Wounds and how we think they work with 8th edition, because there's been a lot of chat about it. There's a lot of chat about it up until today, and actually I filmed this video on Wednesday and I'll tell you the story about that later, which was kind of, actually I was raging about it yesterday, but I've kind of been a bit lucky because GW have released something to do with Smite today, so I'm going to hopefully edit this video tonight and get it out tomorrow. That'd be really rapid.
That'd be lovely. It's like it's planned.
Yeah, it's like it's planned. It might not be. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. However, before we talk about the Smite Phase, which is the whole point of this video, there's a little bit of a kind of channel hobby update that I'm going to sneak in here. It's not big enough to warrant its own video, I don't think, but I want to give you guys an update as to where we're at and why. So just over a week ago, about a week and a half-ish, near enough 2 weeks ago, Mike and I filmed, this is the good news part, we filmed our first ever Warhammer Battle Report.
We had a very, very late night.
Yeah,
Weeknight.
2 o'clock in the morning, and then you had work like the next day?
Yeah.
I didn't. I spent the day sleeping on the sofa. Anyway, yeah, so we filmed the first ever Warhammer Battle Report. We had some Craftwild Elder versus some Ultramarines action.
It was amazing.
It was hard.
Good fun.
And I wasn't used to it.
No.
But I think it looks awesome.
It's scary having to remember all your rules and filming it.
Yeah.
That
takes
it away.
It's scarier chasing dice around a table with a camera. So anyway,
I shake a lot.
Mike has tonight seen the pre-render version on Premiere Pro, which looks, I think, really good.
I love it.
And here comes the bad news.
It made me all excited again.
Yeah. Here comes the bad news.
So why haven't you posted it yet?
My laptop tends to have the staying power of an Eldar Guardian. Honest to God, I spent 5 days trying to render the thing on my laptop, and it just wouldn't have it. It keeps crashing and failing and dying, and to be fair, I've probably pushed that laptop too hard so far.
Yeah, probably.
I've pushed my luck with it anyway to get it to produce these videos. So I did some digging, did some research. Turns out it's nowhere near strong enough to do what I needed to do. That's a problem because the systems I need are very expensive. So I spoke to the patrons, had a chat with some other people, had a chat with some other hobby people and some other YouTube channelers, and they said, have you thought about crowdfunding? And I don't like it because it's asking people for money.
Stuff.
Really, innit? That's all it is. You're going, please give me money. Anyway. Yeah. There is no way forward with these battle reports without a new system, and I just simply can't afford to buy one at the moment because I've been buying all the stuff for battle reports, which is ironic. Yeah. So we've got everything ready for the battle reports. We've bought all the scenery, we've got the table ready, we've got all the tables set up, we've got the battle mats. Yeah, we've got, everything's good to go. We just can't do the last part and give it to you guys. So up above and in the description below is a link to the Warhammer crowdfunder page, which is live currently. It's been going for about a week. It will die on the 4th or 5th of January. And the idea of this crowdfunding page is to fund enough to get a system together for the channel that can render these battle reports quickly and efficiently, so we can get more content online for you more regularly. Of course, it doesn't just benefit battle reports. It means that we can film something like this, and instead of me leaving it rendering for 9 hours overnight, it will do it in about an hour and a half, and it'll be up sooner. So the quicker I can render, the quicker I can produce, the quicker they come online. So there is benefits that aren't just battle report related. I don't like asking for help. I hate it. So the link's below. If you want to check it out, I'm not going to force you to, obviously. But at the moment, there is no way I can see we get these online regularly without that sort of help. I do have a wonderful friend of mine who I'm taking my hard drive to tomorrow to try and render on his computer as a temporary measure, so I can stick one out and you guys can go, actually that looks really good, hopefully. We want to see that more often, so we're going to help him out.
It is a beast of a PC, so fingers are really crossed.
Yeah.
So I dug my beast of a PC out when I built it 10 years ago, and apparently it's not very good anymore. No. It wouldn't even install the software, so that went back in the attic.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get one online to show you, hopefully, maybe, but we don't know. If I can, amazing. If I can't, just hope guys are out there. We've already started. We've already got some wonderful supporters. It's already earned some money for us, and the idea is to spend it all on a system just to get this stuff online. And
the patrons, even they're already giving stuff, they're already backing it.
Yeah, those people are wonderful. We'll talk about patrons at the end of the video because those guys are absolute heroes. And I need to sell that more because the community we're building is incredible. It's actually probably more valuable than the channel. I didn't say that. Anyway, yeah, and to prove the point, so this I mentioned this in the video I filmed on Wednesday night about Smite, and then it proved a point for me again. So I did the video on Wednesday because I was so disillusioned with it, so frustrated and raging that for 5 days I tried to put a battle report on and it hadn't happened. So I need to put something else online because I like to keep some sort of regular content coming. Filmed an hour and a 10-minute video about Smite and etc. And then plugged it into my computer, which ate it. Gone. Absolutely destroyed it.
It's a corn demon.
I don't know what. To this day, I don't know what happened. It just went and gone. Right, thanks very much. I'll do that again then. So luckily, we've got Mike here tonight to film another one, and maybe it'll be better with two of us chatting about it. Anyway, that's enough about that. Long and short of it is, good news, we're filming and I'm happy with it. It looks really good and I'm happy and it will only get better, and I still think it's already started at quite a high...
amazing.
Yeah, it started at a high standard, I think.
Battle map was amazing.
And then to add to that, Noel's been working on some amazing graphics for future narrative battle reports and campaigns.
Yes.
Not that it makes a difference to me because I can't use them, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
The bad news is we can't get them online without your guys' help. So please think about helping. I can't ask directly. No. I'm not like that. Please think about having a look at helping. And if you can, amazing. If you can't, just keep watching the videos because that's amazing enough as it is. That's enough. That's enough waffling on that. I don't want to bore you guys. So we're going to move on to the topic of tonight's video, which is what I call the Smite Phase. Yeah. Now, this was a hot topic for a while. I've chatted to Winters about it for quite a few times actually, but I think once or twice maybe on our Sit and Talk videos. And I wanted to go into more depth on just this one mechanic. I wanted to because I think it's so important as a change from 7th to 8th. Now, obviously 7th edition, there was some horrendous combinations out there, some unkillable units.
Definitely.
Screamer stars were a thing. If you don't know what they were Screamers as each with buffs, etc. Which essentially meant they got to a 2+ rerollable invulnerable save. Ravenwing, Black Knight stars were a thing. 2+ rerollable Jinx saves.
Eldar save.
Eldar with invisibility and fortune. Yeah, there were so many combinations out there of stuff you just couldn't kill.
Embolden, horrify. You just psychic shriek me off the board.
Yeah, but what we're talking about is unkillable stuff. Yeah. Stuff that just didn't. Wolf stars with Thunderwolf cavalry with storm shields, etc. Stuff that just didn't fall over at all. So one of the new mechanics they brought into 8th edition was Mortal Wounds. Mortal Wounds has had a mixed review.
I've had a mixed review myself.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what a mortal wound is, certain things in 8th edition, some weapons, some psychic powers, some aura abilities, kick out mortal wounds. A mortal wound is a wound that you suffer without a to wound roll. You just suffer this mortal wound, and you lose a wound. You don't get an armor save, an invulnerable save, a cover save, any of that sort of stuff. You just suffer it.
People hated it initially, I think, because it was an unsavable wound.
Yeah, and it was an unknown.
And it was brand new.
Yeah. Definitely.
You've gone from this mechanic where you could save pretty much everything all the time to this you can never save it at that time. And
there is an aspect, I think, of some people that have gone to tournaments and have said, actually, tournament lists now are how many mortal wounds can you fit in your list.
Yeah.
And I get that. However, some armies do have saves against it. Death Guard, for example, classic example, and Noble Demons, 5+ disgustingly resilient, they can take that against mortal wounds. Stuff that exists as 6+ Feel No Pains with Iron Hands, I think it is, for Space Marines.
Yeah.
So that. Ulthway have a 6+ Feel No Pain for Cruffied Elder. So lots of little things in there that give you some kind of defence, but a 1 in 6 chance isn't the greatest. It's better than nothing. It's not the greatest. So this new mechanic kicked out. And there was a lot of, oh my god, this new thing's horrendous.
Yeah.
And I was kind of one of those.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
No, I didn't, because it was new.
And they used to fail over. So, like, where the other wounds, like, just built up on one bloke, and you'd kill a bloke.
Yeah.
These now carry over.
Yeah. That's the other thing, of course.
Yeah.
You've got
to wipe a squad out.
You've got a D6 damage weapon, like a last cannon, and you hit a squad of blokes, you kill one. Because damage doesn't carry over. Yeah. You've got D6 mortal wounds and you roll a 6, you kill 6 blokes because they do carry over.
I'm feeling the hate come back, the flashbacks. Before I got used to it and the idea of it, I just felt the hate.
Yeah.
But now, as soon as you start to understand it, we are
starting to see that a lot more armies are having access to more of them with the codexes.
Yeah.
Whether I believe that's balanced or not, I don't know. Certain armies certainly kick out a lot more than others. For example, Death Guard kick out a lot of mortal wounds. However, I will say, a lot of their mortal wounds, you have to be within 3 to 7 inches to suffer them, and they are rolled on a 4 or a 6 up. So, although they've got access to a lot, don't get near them and you won't suffer them. Doesn't help Doesn't help when you're an Orc army or a Harlequin army and you are melee, because you don't want to be near them. But there is a way to play around it. Yeah. Anyway, Mortal Wounds is by the by. This isn't the main topic of this video. The main topic of this video is Smite as a psychic power. Now, Smite is a very basic psychic power. When I say basic, what I mean is every single psyker in 40k so far, and I believe this probably won't stop, has access to Smite. Yeah. Smite is a warp charge value of 5. So you roll 2d6, you get 5 or more, you get Smite. What you do is
pretty easy.
Yeah, it is really easy. That's one of the problems. The nearest enemy unit within 18 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. If you get 11 or more on the dice, so a 5 and a 6 or a double 6, then they get D6 mortal wounds. Of course, the risk of double 6 is perils as well. Yeah. So D6 mortal wounds. We've already told you what mortal wounds do. You can see how powerful this power is. Now, in my opinion, GW made their first fatal mistake when they brought out the psychic power match play rules. Yeah. Psychic Focus stated that every single psychic unit on the board was restricted in the sense that you can only cast 1 power once per psychic phase. Except Smite. Yeah. Smite you can cast as many times as you want. Yeah. Why? Why ban the rest and not restrict that one? Why not lift the restriction on all of them? And I'll explain why I think that. If you had the ability to cast as many other powers as you wanted, would we see so much Smite?
I know you've argued this before.
I have argued this before. Think about it. Think about, I don't know, especially current index armies that have got 6 or 7 psychic units on the board. What? You've got 3 psychic powers. Once you've cast those 3 psychic powers, you've literally run out of powers to cast. So what are you going to do with your last 4 or 5 units? Smite. Because you've run out of everything else.
Like in our narrative battle report, not to boast it when we do get it out there, you barely used it.
I think once, maybe twice.
Maybe twice.
And I think you used it once.
And I used it once because that's the power I could use. The other one
don't quote me on that, and then slam me for it.
But it was because of the opening up of other powers. You just wanted to use more.
In the battle report, we're trying to get out there. We did use narrative rules. Narrative rules lift the restrictions on psychic powers, so you can cast as many of each power as you want, and it's amazing because it just means you've got so many more tactical options that Smite doesn't instantly become the go-to power. Anyway, what we did is we had some discussions about how we thought we'd fix it, and that was what I built in the last video. And actually, ironically, Games Workshop of today released a beta testing rule, so it's not finalised. So I think we can still talk about our options for fixing Smite. Yeah. Because I've got loads that I'll chuck at you. You can go, yeah, I like it, or no, I hate it. And then we'll talk about the GW one, which actually was kind of related to one of the answers I had originally anyway. So I'm not too disappointed in it, but I don't think it's the best fix. So clearly, it being a warp charge value of 5 makes it too easy. I think too easy to cast, especially when you've got an army-wide army. So I'm currently building the Thousand Suns list. Right, I've got 7 or 8 units in that Thousand Suns list that can cast Smite. Yeah. There is a couple of friends who have got Grey Knight lists. They've got 9, 10 units that can cast Smite. So you've got a lot of options to cast Smite. So the first fix I came up with was unlock all the other psychic powers like narrative. I think we've already proven in that battle report, if you ever see it, that kind of fixes Smite a little bit. Not enough, but a little bit. So that was one way I thought maybe we could open that up, lift that psychic restriction. But then I thought, actually, maybe that doesn't fix it enough. Because when you've got access to powers like Warp Time...
Yeah, I was literally about to say, you just mass span Warp Time and Smite together to get your units in there.
Not just Warp Time as well. I mean, Chaos have got one called Death Hex, which picks a unit and you remove their invulnerable save. Yeah. Let's have a think what else we've got. Eldar Farseers have got Fortune. You Fortune everything. You've got saves against more wounds. I
used Might of Heroes twice in our narrative. Not the best one you could ever use, but for Marines, that's...
So... Yeah, so maybe the only other way you can fix that perhaps is that you have a tier system for your psychic powers. Yep. So you have, instead of 6 powers, you have 2 banks of 3. Now I know the budding mathematicians about you will realise that 2 banks of 3 are still 6 psychic powers. What I'm saying is you have like a level 1 and a level 2. Yeah. So level 1, cast as many times as you want. Yeah. Level 2, once per psychic phase. Yeah. So you can chuck things like your Warp Time perhaps in your level 2, and chuck things like your Prescience or stuff like that in your level 1. Yeah. So you cast Prescience as many times as you want. Warp Time once.
As long as it's not confusing, that's fine. Yeah. Simple tier system.
Yeah, so you've got 2 banks of psychic powers. One's tier 1, one's tier 2. Smite obviously drops in the tier 1, cast as many times as you want. Yeah. However, I still think that's a little bit more complicated than we need. Probably. And there is still probably a lot of people out there that would disagree that unlocking more psychic powers improves the game. So the other way I thought we could potentially fix it It's changed its casting value.
Make it harder.
So it's currently a warp charge value of 5, which is nothing. So why not make it a warp charge value of 7? I picked 7 on purpose. You roll 2 dice for a psychic phase. The average of a d6 mathematically is 3.5.
Not so everything rolls 2 dice.
No, but Smite is 2 dice.
Yeah, okay.
So Smite is 2 dice. The average on a d6 is 3.5. So two 3.5s is 7. So if you make it a warp charge value of 7, you've got an exactly 50-50 mathematical chance of getting it off.
Okay, so the maths is with you.
Yeah, of course it is.
I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because I'd still allow it to be available to the people that only have 1 dice. So I'd probably go for 6 and split the difference.
Yeah, but
it's not
so
harder, but it is easier.
What Mike's talking about, pink horrors, for example, blue horrors, brimstone horrors, they've got an additional type of rule to Smite, as have Grey Knights and as have Eldar Warlocks, etc. Yep. So pink horrors and etc. Their particular change to Smite is that they only use 1 dice to cast.
I wouldn't make a rule around them solely, but that is it makes it really hard for them. 1 in 6, not so, quite as easy.
And I kind of thought that you might come up with this. When I prattled on Wednesday, this was my first answer, because I literally had no idea on Wednesday. I had some idea, sat down and just chatted about ways I'd try and fix it. My first answer was change it to a warp charge value of 7, make it a 50-50 chance. That means if you've got 10 smiting units, only 5 of them on average are going to get it off. So then I thought about pink horrors, and I thought actually they can't cast it.
Nope.
So then I thought, here's another fix then. Add this to change it to warp charge value 7, and then when you're building a Psyker in their data entry, whether it's Magnus, Araman, Pink Horrors, whoever, Tigarius, a Farseer, then you just give them, and this happens in plenty of units already, so it's not overly complicated, you just give them a plus bonus. So Pink Horrors plus 2 to Smite. If you give Pink Horrors plus 2 to Smite and allow them to roll on a d6, they're still casting on 5.
Are you not bringing back the 7th level 1, 2 and 3 Psychos? 7th edition, level 1, level 2, level 3.
They already exist. They already exist.
They're there, but they're not the same. You don't have to think about it.
Sort of like an Exalted Sorcerer, 2 psychic powers plus Smite. Araman, 3 psychic powers plus Smite. They already exist, level 1, 2s and 3s. Because they can only know so many psychic powers. And I am bringing that back, but I think it's important. I personally think it's important that... So, the levels of psychic powers, I think, are better in 8th edition, because you're saying... It'll say, for example, Araman... this is a hot topic for me because I'm currently building, or I've just finished building, now started painting my Thousand Suns list. Araman's a level 3 Psyker in old money. What that says is he knows 3 psychic powers from the Dark Hereticus discipline plus Smite, and he can cast up to 3 powers. So of those 4 he knows he can cast 3, which is epic. And then an Exalted Sorcerer, who's not quite Araman's level, he knows 2 and Smite, so he knows 3 and he can only cast 2. So you have a level 1 and a 2 and a 3, because Araman can cast 3, because you're no longer limited by how many warp charge dice you have. I hated that mechanic. Do you know what I mean though?
Yeah, I get that.
You're no longer limited by that. So the Psychers now, no longer do you're checking 6 dice at 1 psychic power and that's all my dice gone, even though I've got 7 psychic powers I can cast, for example. So I think the levels are there, and I think, and for example, Araman has an ability. Araman's got an ability, add +1 to all psychic tests. Magnus has an ability, add +2 when he's at full wounds to all psychic tests.
Yeah.
So that already exists.
But it is dictated for you. That's my bit. It's like Tigarius can re-roll his things. He doesn't get any pluses, but they've determined that he can re-roll his tests.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is we slip a plus in for Smite.
So an option, an optional 10 points for a +1 or...
No, I don't pay for it, no. It's there based on the level of the Psyker.
Okay.
So if you've got a rubric... So I'll tell you what, I'll use Thousand Suns as a perfect example because we've got multiple levels of sorcerers.
Yeah,
so the rubric Marine Squad, you've got an aspiring sorcerer. And you've got a sorcerer, Exalted Sorcerer, Araman, Magnus. So, for example, an aspiring sorcerer in a normal Thousand Suns squad would get 0 bonus at all to casting Smite because he is a basic Psyker. So he casts on 7. Because I changed the warp charge value to 7, obviously. And then you've got, I don't know, let's go for an Exalted Sorcerer, next level, we'll go for.
Yep.
It says in his entry, it will say, an Exalted Sorcerer knows 2 psychic powers from the Dark Heretic discipline plus Smite. It can attempt to cast 2 and deny 1. When casting Smite, he gets a +1 bonus. Simple, 1 sentence is added in.
Yeah.
So he now casts on 6s rather than 7s because he's a more powerful, higher level.
I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see it works. And then Araman, Araman is Lord of the Thousand Suns. He has exactly the same sentence. He can he knows 3 plus what plus smite. He can cast up to 3. He can deny up to 3. As it currently reads, 1 extra sentence. He gets a +2 benefit to smite because he's better than an exalted sorcerer.
Yeah.
So he now casts on 5s, right?
Yep.
Magnus, who's now Magnus the Red,
doesn't get.
He gets
+2 to smite. He gets +2 to everything.
No, he currently gets +2 to everything.
Yeah.
So that entry doesn't need to change. All you do is you add an additional line to him. He gets +2 to smite. It sounds odd because I said Araman gets +3, Magnus gets +2. Magnus getting +2 plus his +2 gives him +4.
You're going to add them. You're going to stack them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which then means he's casting smite on 4. Sounds bad.
It sounds bad.
He currently casts it on 3. Really? Oh no, he would still cast it on 3. 2 + 2 is 3. Yeah. Anyway, so it doesn't. It's the same as him casting it now.
He'd still cast it now, but then isn't there a better chance of him getting a high double, super strong?
He's Magnus.
He is Magnus. There is a fair point with that.
Yeah, and obviously with Magnus, his wounds tree, as his wounds tree starts to deteriorate, should you ever be able to take wounds off of him, he goes from a +2 down to +1 down to +nothing. The other thing you could do is scrap that stacking type bonus and just say that for smite he gets +4, and then if he then
I'd be more inclined to go that way. Make it simple in their rules about being a psyker. Include the smite.
The problem I have with that is by making it a flat +4 is then it's really easy to get a more than 10 wounds with him. If you make it a +2 and his 2 that goes degrades, when he's at a quarter of his wounds left and he's got 0+ to his psychic test from that tree, you've just got the +2 for smite and then +0 for smite. So then, then you're restricting how much. So when he gets weaker, he can't get the 2d6 wounds as easily. Right, Magnus, I'll explain this as well. Magnus isn't a normal smiter. Magnus's rules are a little bit different. If he casts on a 5+, which is actually a 3+, because he gets +2 to his psychic tests, he gets d6 mortal wounds as standard. Yep. His rules then state if he casts on a 10 or more, not even more than 10, 10 or more, he gets 2d6 mortal wounds. But then he is Magnus.
Yeah.
So he's a Primarch, so I think that's probably okay. Well, I think it's okay because I have him. So that's why I think it's okay.
Okay, so those are your potential fixes.
They're my current go-to fixes for it. There was the third one that I came up with, which, funny old thing, is actually just a pretty... Now, this is going to sound horrendous. If I'd have released this video yesterday, people would then see the chapter approved thing today and go, Jesus, he predicted the future. But because I haven't released it yesterday, because the computer ate it, now they're going to go, well, we know that's the case because they've already released it. Well done, mate. You've just predicted something they've already told us. So I'm gonna claim that I came up with this idea anyway. Which I'd actually heard about in a leak somewhere and thought actually we could change and this could kind of work. And that is that for every additional cast of smite, now this is where I had it slightly, I will own up, I had it slightly different on Wednesday. Yep. For each additional cast of smite, so successful manifestation of that power, the next unit to cast it gained a +1. -1 to the casting. So the first unit will cast it on 5. If they're successful, the next unit casts it on 6. If they're successful, the next unit on 7. Now that's different to what we've currently seen in chapter approved today.
Which I think is better.
What, mine or theirs?
Theirs. It's like you're trying to bring in the warp to smite someone, and the storm above the psychers is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. No matter what, you're still trying. So I like that.
I'm not sold. So if you chapter approved today, well, I say chapter approved. GW community page today on Facebook released an article giving people heads up as to how they're going to work the erratas, the FAQs, the big game FAQs, and chapter approved, and show the timetables as to how they're going to work. I'm really chuffed about it because it's amazing that they're working this hard to fix this game so quickly. And when you're in people like John's position and you've gone out and spent 600 quid on a net list and they've smashed the big unit to 1500 points and smashed the rest of your smiters, I'm like, that's brilliant, that's amazing. Stop going and buying spam units, people, and then they'll stop nerfing them. It's that simple. The only people whinging about it are the tournament players that have just bought 600 of the same unit.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. They wouldn't need an FAQ and an errata every 3.5 minutes if tournament players didn't exist.
I do feel for him though, because his models don't look that bad.
They look awesome.
He took ages to paint them
they look really good.
For a tournament, and now they're going to be nerfed. And
but it's the same old. If tournament players, I say this harshly, and I don't want to upset tournament players that watch this channel, because I'm actually putting lists together at the moment to go to tournaments this year.
Yeah,
even though I said I wouldn't.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But so in case tournament players watch this channel, I'm sorry, but it is true that if tournament players and I generalise, and I'm sorry, if tournament players didn't exist, this many nerfs and FAQs and erratas wouldn't need to come into being. Because the only reason why they come into being is because people keep trying to break the game. If you stop trying to field 28 smiting units, they won't nerf Smite.
We discussed this earlier about the FAQs and how someone might have complained about it very quickly on. And then we were like, well, why do you even need them out there? They bring them out all the time, and maybe I'll be writing all over my book just to correct rules and stuff like that. And then it's you correctly pointed out, actually, most of the time we read these rules and go, well, yeah, that's how we read it anyway.
And even then, even if it's not how you read it, GW's response to him was brilliant, because GW's response was quite simple. You don't have to use him. Buy your codex, just use your codex if you want.
Play the way you want.
Yeah, pretty much it's your hobby, crack on. They were like, just use the codex. And if you want to use the codex and wait once a year for chapter approved, do that. Or if you want to use the 2 yearly FAQs, use that. It's entirely up to you. Yeah. That shut him up quite straight away. Anyway, I do digress a little bit, because tournament players, I like tournaments, and I go to tournaments, and you tend to find 70% of players at tournaments are really good blokes, and they're there to have a laugh.
That's probably more.
Yeah, probably is higher.
I'm
just
probably
not being kind.
One set.
But there is a percentage, whether it's 10, 20, 30, and sometimes that depends on what tournament you go to, of people that are there to win at all costs. You see it, WAAC, win at all cost players. They exist. They're everywhere, unfortunately. They don't just get to tournaments. I do pick up games in your local GW, and you'll see them deploy their army and go, nah, you're right, mate. Because you just think it and go, that's not going to be fun. That's not going to be fun at all. And if these people stopped, how have people not learned as well with 8th edition, right? 8th edition's been out for less than a year. The first thing that happened was flyer spam. GW nerfed it like that. Nope, not having that. That's stupid. So we'll change the rules. Flyer spam stopped. Next thing, conscript spam. That's a problem. Nerf commissars, nerf conscripts. Sorted that problem. But how are you not learning? How are you not learning?
What was the latest one? Oh, characters. And now... Let's change characters.
So the character rule. Testing. Well, actually, this was a bit of a faux pas, I think, on GW's front. But now we are really coming away from the Smite Phase currently. This is a bit of a faux pas. They released a character type of update, I believe, in chapter approved. I say I believe. I haven't read it yet, because we tend to be playing narrative at the moment, and I'm not that bothered by print points and match play rules. But the character rule that was released was kind of a little bit broken. Essentially, it stated that you can only target a character that was visible nearest. And if another character was not visible but nearest, you couldn't then target that other character that was visible, because the other one was nearest, even though you couldn't see him. That meant people were infiltrating assassins and line of sight blocking terrain so close to you that you couldn't target anything in your army, the other opponent's army that was a character, because that assassin was so close. Stupid rule. Why would an army be focusing on a wall? I see that big character there. I see Gullyman, for example, there. I see him. He's there. He's right in front of me. He's a giant power armoured Primarch. I need to kill him. He's right there. He's the nearest character. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got this weird spidey sense that something's behind that wall. Maybe I shouldn't shoot at him. Maybe I should shoot at that wall. No, I'm sorry. That's retarded. That was an absolute, in my opinion, that was an absolute faux pas. And they have now released a new beta rule alongside this Smite one that they're bringing out, which we still haven't talked about. No. That now states that when targeting a character, he has to be the nearest and visible. It also states that when selecting this character and deciding whether he is the nearest, you ignore all other characters.
Under 10
massive.
Wounds.
I think that's a massive change.
10
yeah, under 10 wounds, obviously, because over 10 wounds they become another unit and the rule doesn't apply to them. But I think that's massive, because not only does that mean that people cannot hide assassins out of line of sight in the corner in a building that you can't see and stop you from shooting your characters. It's not just that. If you surround your big character with loads of other characters, it still doesn't make a difference, because it literally says you ignore all other characters of the wounds characteristics of less than 9. Suddenly, Gullyman cannot be bubble wrapped by a chapter master, a lieutenant, a librarian, a chaplain, an apothecary. He has to be bubble wrapped by things like tactical marines or primaris intercessors, etc.
And what fits is you can hide your characters behind Mortarion or Magnus, because he's a big old scary thing with more than 10 wounds. And the bloke shooting him is going to be scared and going, I've got to shoot at the biggest, scariest thing. Not, let's concentrate and aim past him.
If a bloke stands there and decides to stand there and shoot at Magnus or Mortarion, to be fair, he probably deserves to die, because he's clearly stupid. Anyway, so that was what we've just explained. Ironically, we've just explained one of the chapter-approved beta rules for the LVO, and we haven't explained the other one. So just to explain very, very quickly, what these are beta rules that GW said they're going to try out at the next big tournament, which is the LVO. If you don't know what the LVO is a Las Vegas Open. I think it's annually in Las Vegas, hundreds of players, probably the biggest tournament of the year in 40k, I'd argue. I believe it's an ITC event. I'm pretty sure it's an ITC event. I'm not going to start explaining what that is, otherwise I'll just go down a rabbit hole explaining what all the tournament stuff means, and I don't need to do that. ITC's a thing. It's probably the biggest tournament scene in 40k.
If you start that, I'm going off to make a cup of tea. Yeah.
So what they've done with Smite is they've changed what I suggested and what I thought on Wednesday, and they've said actually with each attempt to manifest Smite, you -1 from the next attempt. So if I attempt it with a unit and fail, then when I attempt it with the next unit, I still -1.
Which I like. I'm alright with.
I don't... Right.
Then the order of events really becomes important.
For Smite.
For Smite.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I thought to myself, yeah, I don't mind it. And I don't mind it. I don't think it's the best fix. I think the best fix is make it warp charge value 7. It's my personal opinion. I don't think it's the best fix, but I don't mind it as a fix. I'm okay with it. I think it's all right. I think it works. But I thought, actually, if you're going to do that for Smite, why not make that as a generic psychic rule for all powers?
Ooh.
So why not lift the restriction in match play on all psychic powers and have them all cast as many times as you like Smite? However, they all suffer the same negative that Smite does. For each attempt, successful negative, you -1.
Because those really hard ones that are warp charge value of 8...
So
really
to death hex for chaos, you select an enemy unit within X amount of inches, I think it's 18, and they don't get an invulnerable save. It's warp charge 8. So I cast it. If I fail or pass, fine. If I fail it and I want to cast it, so I really want that unit of Storm Shield, Thunder Hammer Terminators to lose their Storm Shield, I've just tried to cast it with whoever, I failed it with 8. Shoot. See what I did there? Shoot.
Yeah.
So the next unit wants to have a go. Now it's going to cost me 9. I get a warp charge value of 9. So it fixes all of them. Surely it fixes all of them.
Yeah.
Because the ones that aren't that important are warp charge value 5 and 6 anyway. So it doesn't matter if they do them 4 or 5 times, and none of them cost less to cast than Smite does.
Nope.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
I'd lift the ban.
We might even make that a house rule if we do match play ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
if we do match play, crack on.
I believe the beta rule for Smite is for match play specifically. I don't think it's for narrative. I think for narrative it remains warp charge value of 5. Now, someone who's today spent an hour and a half writing a tournament list, which has multiple Smites in it. It's not a spam, but it has multiple Smites. It can't be a spam. It's got no more than 10 units. 10 models, in fact.
And they are practically all different.
Yeah. Exactly. They are all different. Yeah. There isn't a single unit that's the same.
My counter for it would be spam.
Yeah. But so I've written a tournament list today. It took me a little while that uses and utilises Smite. Yeah. And I still don't mind that rule because I'm not that kind of tournament player. So I think it's okay. But I think if you lift that restriction on all psychic powers and apply that -1, you not only open up that tactical flexibility that we saw in the narrative game, you arguably add another layer to it because you have to think about who's casting it and when and what order you're going to do things in. So I think that would fix it.
Which I think is one of the things they've really pushed with 8 is that order of events. So your assault phase and then the actual fighting phase, it's all about order of events and what do you want to happen first. There's
one other thing as well with Smite that the narrative player in me wants to see, and it's not going to happen anytime soon because it's just not, because we've seen too many codexes already, 10 to be precise.
So just in case you were counting.
Yeah. But I think it's 10, it might be 9.
No, it is 10.
But there's something about it that I would like to see changed. Now I understand that Smite is a psychic power in the big rule book that everyone's got access to, and that's my first problem. So what Smite's supposed to represent is a Psyker's basic attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the basic lesson 1 in Skyrim. Your first ever psychic attack. It's an aggressive, offensive psychic attack.
Yes.
Right. That's it. That's what it is. So why not give it some flavour? Now I don't mean change the rule. Keep the rule the same.
Change the name.
Just instead of having it in the big rule book, why isn't Smite an additional rule in each of the... You've got a page for psychic powers anyway in your codex. It wouldn't be hard to add Smite to the top and not call it Smite. And then Thousand Suns can be shooting lightning bolts, and some people could be firing flames out, and some people could be shooting out shockwaves, and give it some character for that army.
But your Smite could be as you go through your different armies, your different flavors, you could describe it as that in your head.
And I will.
Yeah.
And I inevitably will, because that's how it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they can't. Their smite is a smite attack that crushes the opponent's mind. Like the Eldar, for example. The Thousand Sons could be shooting lightning bolts out. You know, I just think some flavour to it would make it so much better.
I think it comes back to that simplicity that they were trying to push. So you've now given a blanket rule that everyone understands, everyone knows it's a warp charge value of 5. You got to roll for it, and everyone understands it.
But it's the same rule.
It is the same rule.
It's the same warp charge value of 5, 18 inches, nearest enemy model, D3 mortal wounds. It's the same rule. All I'm saying is give it its name. And you could still leave Smite in the big roll book and then release it in the codex. So for Thousand Sons codex, it could be called, I don't know, Thunderbolt. Warp charge value. This psychic power replaces Smite in the big rule book.
Yep.
That's all you need to do. And it's not hard or complicated. People will try and break it because that's what people do. But it's not hard or complicated. It's easy to understand. All you're doing is giving Smite a narrative name and a narrative purpose. I wonder...
I would have been alright with it if they started it.
I wonder if they'd have done that from the start.
Yeah.
I wonder if people's problems with Smite wouldn't have been so bad.
We did discuss that before when it came out, didn't we? Because they made it so widely accessible and that it was unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah.
If everything from the start had been unlimited, you probably wouldn't have had so many Smite spamming.
And you have like Tzeentch Demons against Grey Knights, and you have a Smite off, and it just annoys me.
Do you know what I like next? The next level to Smite. So we got the generic Smite rule. I'd like the opposite. This defense rule. So your other basic rule that you might have learned as a psyker is like a defensive rule.
Like a psychic force field.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I mean, some people have it already. Some people can do certain invulnerable saves. They can buff themselves. They can
but I suppose
defend themselves.
I suppose Deny the Witch exists.
I guess it's that.
Yeah. But Deny the Witch is a thing. So maybe that's
enough.
I do like it as an idea that you can cast a psychic power and you can put up some sort of shield. Maybe an aura, maybe a range, maybe just on a unit, and they will become immune perhaps to Smite.
Yeah, I think it would have to be yourself. Just because at the moment you do have other protecting...
So you're protecting yourself from mind bullets, essentially.
Mind bullets.
Well, there was one other fix I came up with for Smite.
That was a tangent.
That's cool. I like it though. There was one other fix I came up with for Smite, and that was the the way in which it dishes out wounds. So I think a patron mentioned this, and I sort of grabbed it a little bit because I like the idea. So it does D3 mortal wounds. As I said, you cast Smite, you're successful. You roll D3, you get 6 or something. You get 3 mortal wounds. You take 3 models of the board. That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works.
Are gone.
Well, unless it's your intercessors, which are 2 wounds each. But say it's normal Marines, you take 3 models off the board, and that's not that great. So, how about you maybe even if you change it from a D3 to D6, either way, you roll however many wounds you get 3 wounds. We'll call it 3 for argument's sake because that works for a D3 or a D6. You get 3 wounds. Then you roll 3 dice, right, against your enemy. A 1 doesn't do anything. They manage to save themselves from it. A 2, 3, or a 4. There's a wound at AP -3, so you're still getting vulnerable saves. A 5 or a 6, there's a mortal wound, you get no saves.
Yep.
So what you're saying is you're rolling, and that's how heavy that smite has affected that individual.
So you're saying a psyker is the other side of a room. He's tried to smite me, and on a 1 I've noticed he's done that, and I've dived out of the way.
I don't know about that
type thing.
Shot
lightning at me, or a flame of some sort, or something like that. And I've gone, oh no, and dived out of the way.
Yeah. Oh no.
And then on the rest, he's got me, potentially.
Yeah. And it depends on how powerful that hits you then.
Yeah.
So I liked it as a fix. I thought it was quite cool. My issue with it is that potentially it overcomplicated it a little bit and it elongates the game. However, it is quite a cool fix. But
it's a cool rule.
So before today, I was like, the best fix in the world is make Smite Warp Charge 7 and affect the way certain units cast it, depending on how powerful they are as psychics. Then, after today's rule, when we basically realised that this is the way GW are going, because they've said they're going to release it as a beta rule and playtest it in LVO, what that normally means by GW is, this is coming. Because they go, oh, loads of feedback. I don't like that feedback, so we're going to do what we're going to do anyway.
There's some positive feedback. Let's grab that.
But I'm not.
Because there will be people
who
love it.
I love the company at the moment. I'm obsessed with it.
Do you know what
literally,
it's less than a year and they're already changing it,
which is good.
Yeah.
But they have. It took them less than 4 weeks, and they were changing things. They've been changing things. Like I think within 3 to 4 weeks, we had the first FAQ out. That's amazing by GW standards. They're incredible. Their community interaction is amazing. Their Facebook type interaction, and the way they reply and the way they correspond with people is amazing. They've just created a brand new GW email address just for FAQ questions. That's incredible, and yet people are still complaining. They can't win. They can in my eyes. I think they're heroes, all of them. Anyway, by the by. So now what I've decided is my most favourite fix is lift the restriction on all psychic powers and have that -1 every time you try and cast a power, so it can become -2, -3, -4. Have that apply to every psychic power. Fixes the lot. Allows people to be more tactically flexible, allows people to try and play more narratively even in match play games because they can cast different powers more often. Doesn't encourage people to just spam Smite, but Smite also suffers that same negative. Fixes the lot. In my opinion, I might be wrong. Maybe we'll try it and go, oh, this doesn't fix anything.
You could complicate it again.
Oh no.
Yeah, you could have the -1 all the way along the number of times that you try.
Yeah.
And if you fail, it goes to a -2. Or even if you succeed, it could go to -2.
I think
you start complexity.
Yeah, I think the -1's enough for now. Cool. Because you think about it,
You've got to try it.
If you've got units like, so I have, let me think, 3 squads of Rubik's, a squad of Occult, that's 4, 2 Exalted, that's 6, Araman 7, Magnus 8. Yeah. So I've got 8 units that can cast Smite. Right? I can't.
No.
I can't, because the first time I cast, even if I'm successful, the first time I cast it cost me 5. Yeah. Second 6, 7, second 6, third 7, 8, 8, fourth 8. 5th 9. This is harder than it should be. 6th 10, 7th 11, and then 8th time 12. So basically, on the 8th time I try and cast, I have to perils to get it off. It's just the last 3 or 4 attempts are just not going to happen. No. So it won't be any use to me. Yep. Well, it will be a use to me, but you have to use it like you said early on. You have to think about it now. Yeah. Think about your order of events. Now I've got Araman who gets +1 to casting, and Magnus who gets +2 to casting. Do I cast Magnus first in the hope that I can get his +2 without any negative and push him above that 10 threshold for 2d6? Or do I wait after 2 casts and cast it with him and then suffer no negative because I get -2 for casting twice already and +2 for him can't? It makes you really think about what you're going to do. Yeah, exactly. So I like it. I do like it.
And what I like is it doesn't affect me.
Not really. You don't use it.
No, I use two psychers. Yeah. In the last battle report, and typically I don't go much more than 3 anyway because I'm Marines typically, and the and it just wouldn't affect me.
Normally you cast it a maximum of once anyway.
Yeah, because I've got other objectives.
So before we started to come up with ways of fixing Smite, what I also did is I had another conversation with another guy, another patron. He's also a guy who used to be in the forces with a guy called Dan Ford, and we were talking about. So I was on my high horse. Yeah, I was on my high horse about how much I hated Smite and I don't like it. And Dan him and I had a chat. And he makes.
He doesn't see a problem.
No, and actually, we're going to talk about this now because he makes some really good points. Yeah. But then I finished talking to him and I completely switched my viewpoint on it and went, no, there's nothing wrong with Smite or Mortal Wounds. And then I spoke to someone else and I switched back. This is what I do a lot. And my opinions change all the time. And you'll probably notice on these videos. I can change within an hour of filming a video. Anyway, the first thing he said to me was, I don't think Mortal Wounds are a problem. I said, well, why? He said, the reason why people think they're a problem is this hark back from 7th edition to small-sized elite armies. And Mortal Wounds hit and hurt small-sized elite armies because traditionally they don't tend to have as many wounds available to them as other armies. What they have is a higher toughness and better armor save and more invulnerable saves. So being able to cause a wound that just removes all your saves straight away hurts them. And he said, that's the problem. I said, well, what's the problem? He said, because every single army has access to some kind of chaff. Yeah. Orc boys, Gretchen, Nurglings, Poxwalkers,
Scouts,
cultists, even Marine Scouts. They're expensive chaff, but they're still chaff. They're still chaff. Conscripts, etc. He said, if you play clever and you play the game, I don't want to use the word properly, if you play the game cleverly and you come up against Smite spam and you have the right units to deal with Smite spam, it doesn't necessarily mean the units that can kill or deny Smite, just that you can feed your opponent, because it has to be the nearest unit within 18 inches. Yeah. I don't want this big model smited. Eat that. And say, for example,
not even the other way around, because he plays orcs. So he puts his Morkanaut at the front.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It doesn't even have to be a cheap chaff unit. It doesn't have to be a cheap chaff unit. You've got a Psyker there that can cast D3 Mortal Wounds. Eat a Land Raider.
Yeah.
Because for 8 wounds without Land Raider, it doesn't eat Imperial Knight. Because for 12 wounds without Imperial Knight, it doesn't care.
No.
Doesn't care.
And even then, you probably don't care.
You can
anyway,
cast
if
Smite.
It's taking all of that attention.
With one Psyker, you can cast Smite 4 times in Imperial Knight and get a maximum 3 wounds each, and it's still hitting you at full ballistic skill, full weapon skill. It's not got its nerf profile.
Yep.
So he was right in that sense. He said if you get rid of these elitist armies, if you realise people were playing a big war game, and it shouldn't just be about having 6 Thunderwolves and actually 2,000 points, you don't get hurt so bad. And I thought, actually, yeah, that's a very good point. And then I got a Narcon. Dan doesn't know this part yet. He's about to find out. Because I was like, actually, the whole point of this game is you're supposed to be able to play whatever you want.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't you be able to play your elitist armies?
Well, you can.
But you accept the fact you're going to get nailed by Smite if it exists.
You've got to avoid the 18-inch bubble.
Well, I suppose, yeah. But if you've got Thunderwolf cavalry, very few of, who want to make melee, it's quite hard to avoid that 18-inch bubble.
They move 12 inches, don't they?
Yeah, but you still want to make melee, mate, so you're going to have to be within 18 inches at some point.
So you move to 19 inches, you move your 12, and then get your 2d6 charge.
My other issue with Smite is...
kill them before they can.
My other current issue with Smite, which I haven't necessarily addressed, is your ability to cast it even whilst you're locked up in combat.
I don't like that.
I get it. If a Psyker is fighting in hand-to-hand, why wouldn't he also use the strength of his mind to fight in hand-to-hand?
And it has to be nearest, so it will be the person you're in combat with.
Yeah.
So
but why wouldn't he use his mind? I get that he would use his mind. I understand that. But and this now extends. This is a slight tangent because this extends for me to the wider psychic phase. Maybe when in melee, maybe when within 1 inch of an enemy model, you can only ever get 1 mortal wound. That's the first fix. You're still using your mind bullets in melee. You're not doing D3. Maybe if you were only targeting the unit you're in combat, but that kind of works out because it's got to be the nearest enemy.
Or you go to a bigger negative. So it'll be -2
to
cast because you're in the middle of a battle.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That kind of works because you're trying to concentrate on fighting alongside casting. The other thing that I wish would change, and I don't know how to make this change without overcomplicating the phase, so I'm not sure if it would ever work. I don't like the fact, and I do it. Don't get me wrong, I do this because I can. I don't like the fact that I can have my Psyker in melee here, fight it. So I did it. I think I did it in the battle report actually. I'm not sure. I don't like that my Farseer is in combat here, fighting a lieutenant, a Primaris Marine, a captain, a chapter master.
Fortuned the guys up on the ridge.
Yeah, and then up there, 12 inches away, I go, I'm going to guide you because whilst I'm getting punched in the face, I'm more interested in guiding you. That's not going to happen. No. He's not. He's so focused on fighting what he's fighting. He's not casting on blokes 12 inches away. Well, not 12 inches away in real life because it's just over there. But you know what I mean. Up on a mountainside, what you wouldn't be doing that. Yes, you'd be firing mind bullets that are like coming at you, swinging his power fist. Yeah. But you're not going to be. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit worried about him over there. I'm going to fortune him. Oh, my head's just been taken clean off with a power sword.
So you're saying that only Smite can be used?
I'm saying that you either... No, I'm not saying only Smite can be used. I'm saying that if you're casting, you can only cast on either the opponent you're fighting or yourself.
Or anyone you're within 1 inch of.
No, anyone. So perhaps all right then. Perhaps lift the restriction slightly. Anyone you're fighting, or any friendly unit you're fighting with. So within 1 inch of essentially. Yeah. Because you'd be firing mind bullets at your opponent. Why wouldn't you want to fortune yourself to try and protect yourself against this
fight?
Your
lieutenant's just coming over your shoulder. You might want to give him.
Yeah, and it might be that you power yourself up and give yourself fortune because you know what's coming and you want to survive and you think that's more important than firing mind bullets. Anyway, that's a complete aside from Smite. Yeah. But I think to bring it back to Smite, I think Smite in the psychic phase whilst the unit's locked in combat, so within 1 inch of an enemy model, should be reduced to single wound only, never anymore.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I think
it's just a free shooting phase.
Yeah, it is. It's no different than having a pistol, apart from it's a mortal wound, so it's a lot more powerful. So I have no idea how long we've chatted for because I don't time this anymore. We just go for it. So I'm hoping it's about an hour. Where's my clock? I think it's just under an hour, which is not too bad. Yeah. So that's a brief discussion. We haven't really come to a major conclusion. We've fired some ideas about. Please feel free to drop in the comments below and let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about their new beta rule, whether you like it or don't like it. Like I say, I think if I was to give you a final answer, I would say apply that beta rule, but apply it to all psychic powers and lift the restriction on how many you can cast. That way, I think you fix it big time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just selfish because I'm someone who is always, and that includes 6th edition and 7th edition, I've always loved the Psychic Phase. I loved it back when you used to pay points to pick your Psychic powers. I loved it in 7th when they were random, although I didn't like the randomness so much. I still loved the phase, and I had a seer counts on all sorts. And I love it in 8th. Psychic Phase is probably one of my favourite. I just got a thing about psychers and witches and stuff like that. I just love, that's one of my things that I like. Some people like big cannons and tanks. I like psychers. So I've always been quite keen and quite hot at the Psychic Phase. So I really want it to be perfect because it annoys me. It really annoys me that I can take an army of Psychers and in the Psychic Phase I can cast 3 powers and then it's all Smite. I hate that. That's why I prefer narrative. And that's why we've basically always lifted the restriction.
We have, even on match play, when we play match play, we lift that restriction.
And what's the only thing that's ever really been that broken? Smite and everything.
Yeah.
When Adam charged me with his Death Dread and my Thousand Suns smote it, that's probably the right word, smote it off the board.
Yeah.
Smited? Smote it?
Smited it.
Smited it. When they smited it off the board.
Yeah, they smited it off the board.
Really? I'm not sure that was that great. And that's when you prove the power's a little bit broken.
Yeah,
I think.
A little bit.
Anyway, that's that. That's what I think they should do, personally. Yeah. And
we'll play it the other way, and we'll come back to you.
I'll play it. I will always play the way that GW tell me to play there or thereabouts. Yeah. I mean, I think this beta rule, is only intended for match play. I don't think this beta rule is intended for all play or narrative play. If it is, it is. And that's the. But I do think you tend to find narrative games. People don't spam things like Smite because it's a narrative game. Why would you spam? People don't do it. They just don't. So I don't think it'll be brought into narrative. But maybe in the future we'll play some match play games on the channel because we want to get this tournament list built. Might do another video about my tournament list.
If you do, that's fine. I've got my counter. I won't ever probably get that many boys in the. I can get 210 boys / their leader knobs in there as well, and some war bosses to counteract his tournament list. Mine is not a good list. It's just what could survive a game against you.
Yeah, I'm not even sure it would do that well.
No, I don't think it would do. There's not enough power in it. I could probably reduce the number of boys.
Probably win. You'd probably win the game. I don't think you'd kill anything. But hey ho. Anyway, that's a whole different video. We won't talk about that now. So anyway, we'll end it here. So first thing I want to do is please remind people to think about dropping to the link below, the link that I've put above. Normally you see the Patreon above, and you'll notice that the one above today has been for crowdfunder, so we can try and get these battle reports to you because I'm so pleased with how they look. And like I say, Noel's working on a project for us which graphically is stunning, and if we can add that into the campaigns and the narrative battle reports, it's just going to look far better than I ever thought we could make these things look. And I'm already very, 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 very pleased with how this first one looks. Tonight we were supposed to be filming another battle report. I was going to be busting out Martin Waller's Blood Angels tonight and taking on your Ultramarines again, but there's just no point filming something that I can't produce for you when I could be filming content that I can give to you. Yeah. So at the moment, battle reports, as stunning as they look in this house, and they do look good, with this background and it's amazing. Anyway, they're on hold because they have to be until I can work out a way of getting them to you, which is going to need crowdfunder support. Which is unfortunate, especially this time of year. I understand, but people are donating a lot actually already, so it's amazing. The link that's normally up there is for Patreon. That is still in the description below. I wasn't going to push it in this video because we've already asked for crowdfunder, but Patreon has become incredible.
Yeah, just a bit.
Incredible. So we have 3 levels. We have 3 tiers on Patreon that you could become a Warhammer supporter, a hero, or a legend. That depends on how much you pay. If you become a hero or a legend, there's various things you get. So you get access to the Patreon-only WhatsApp chat, which is going to open up now. It's probably got even more messages on it right now. Yeah. So you get access to the Patreon-only WhatsApp chat. Yeah. I thought
Does that say something?
666 messages currently.
I've been out of it for a day.
Yeah.
Maybe just day and a half at most, where I've had to go Christmas shopping and spend time with my wife, who I love, honest. Yeah. And and so I didn't get into the chat. And the last chat they were having was about Smite, and then I've got to go back to it. I've got 666 messages to read.
We do, when we're in the Patreon chat, we do tend to chat about topics before we talk about them on camera.
Yeah.
We ask the patrons their opinions. We ask them if they've got any specific questions. I ask them questions. I ask them for their questions if I got to go film with Winters. They get direct access to me and to you and to Noel, and they can ask us questions, and that's a wonderful thing for them to do. So there is a video coming soon with Winters, which is just Patreon questions and nothing else, I believe, because we do that sort of thing for them because they're wonderful people. However, and that was what the group was intended for. They also get access to Martin Waller, who's Golden Demon Slayer Swordwinner, and he can give people painting tips and hints and tricks, and he's also putting pictures up of his progress, which is annoying because it's just so good.
We were teasing them with photos of the battle report while filming.
But
they've really been teased.
And that was the point of the group, was the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But what it's turned into is this really incredible online hobby community group thing.
It is, yeah, they're very supportive of each other.
Lots of photos, and it's not, I don't even have to get involved sometimes. No. They're talking to each other, they're sharing photos, they're sharing projects, they're giving each other ideas, painting tips, hints, tricks, etc. It's amazing. And then on Wednesday, once I finished the video at the computer at 8, what we then did is we sat and had a Skype hobby session.
Yep.
Which is also going to become a regular thing that patrons have access to, where you can log into Skype and we sit there at our desks chatting absolute rubbish on Skype whilst doing hobby time.
Yep.
That was cool as well.
I was missing it because I was off.
It was good.
Shopping.
We had 3 or 4. There was me, Noel, a guy called John, a guy called Simon, a guy called Riddick. All jumped into the hobby chat. The patrons Skype. There we go. Thank you. Skype session. That was awesome. So I'm going to keep doing those as well. And that you all get that for being part of all of this hobby group stuff. All of it you get for being part of the Patreon program that we've got going on.
And we've got different levels of of hobbyists. So some of them are amazing painters and do some epic conversions, and so it's building that death guard with all the faces and.
Oh, that's not Death Guard. That's Slanesh. But yeah,
Slanesh. All right. So. Yeah,
there's a guy in the chat called, I'm going to mention him because he keeps telling me that it's not that hard, honestly. There's a guy in the chat called Dylan. He is working he's working on a 100% converted green stuffed Slanesh army, which is mind-blowingly good.
They are amazing.
And the most annoying thing is you say to Dylan, that is insanely good, and he goes, anyone can do that. No, no, they can't. These ham fists cannot do that work.
No one can do that and put 25 faces on the back of a rhino or on the back of a...
Honestly, his stuff, I've told him, when he's finished it, and he's agreed, when he's finished it, either I'm going to go up to him or he's going to come down to me, and we're going to do a video just about his Slanesh army, because it is one of the greatest Slanesh armies I've ever seen, and it's only a work in progress.
A Marine's leg has them on.
Yeah, it's cool. It's amazing. Anyway, so that's the Patreon program. Like I said, there's different levels of support. Have a look at it if you want. There's 2 final links below. One of them's for Redbubble for merchandise because it's cool. And like I keep saying, every single video, I only did that because I'm happy with it because it makes me look cool. Honestly, it was for me anyway. But you can buy stuff on there, and actually, it's really good quality stuff. And then finally, the last link is to GameMat.eu, who are our sponsor, and they do an amazing battle mat, which you'd see in the battle report if I could get it online.
It feels really good to play on.
It's awesome, isn't it? I was chatting to the guys at Game Mat, I think yesterday, and they've got some more products coming soon as well, some brand new stuff, which is really cool. Anyway, that's that. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button because subs are going up. We're at 1,549 or 1,550 as of today. So yeah, 10,000 by Christmas. And we'll start getting sent codexes from GW so I can review them for you early. Brilliant. So yeah, we've only got another 8,500 to go. Well, 8,450 to go by Christmas. I think we can do that if you start sharing it around and everyone hits subscribe. We've still got about 40% of our views are not subscribers because YouTube tells me all this stuff.
We need you. That's the thing, isn't it? Your mum's done enough.
Yeah.
We need you now.
Yeah, my mum's done enough. Not even related to this. Yeah, so, but yeah, if you feel like it, hit subscribe, and then what happens is you get a little free notification, little red dot every time we put up a video, and it's all for free. It doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost me anything. Well, that's just cost me a fortune, but it doesn't cost you anything to watch these videos. And that would be amazing, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, that's the end of this video. We're about to go and start filming a series called The 3 More Migos, which I'm very excited about. And I'll explain all that in the next video if you manage to get your eyes on and watch it. So please stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next one.